Welcome, everybody, and good morning. I'm so glad that we have a beautiful day here on the farm and that you're able, from your venue, from where you're sitting from, I hope that you really did take the opportunity to just look out and enjoy the beauty of this farm, because I think it's absolutely amazing. But I'm glad that you could all join us for this very special event today. And today we're celebrating vision, hard work, and community spirit as we officially open our new event and education venue. This project would not have been possible without so many of you. Those who researched grant data for me, those who wrote letters of support, those who planned tirelessly to get this done and then replanned again. Those of you who rolled up your sleeves to do the actual work and then held the vision for what this space could become. I want to thank the funders who made this possible. Along with the town of Medway, the Massachusetts Office of Travel and Tourism grant provided the impetus for us to start thinking about how do we blend the farm with the community. And then, in addition, the Community Preservation Committee really provided the bulk of the funding for this. And so without the committee support, without the town, without the Mott grant, this space would not have been a vision for us. It would not have come true. So what we started as a single seed of an idea has grown into this tremendous project. This new event and education area is going to benefit the farm in countless ways. You'll hear more about the impact of this project from others who are going to be speaking shortly. Most of all, the venue stands as a symbol of what we can achieve together. When we share a vision, put in the effort, and believe in the power of community. Before we begin with our speakers, I'd like to take a moment for a quick thank you bucket list. Thank you to our town leaders, to the Community Preservation Committee, to the state for the Mott grant, to the many board members and the volunteers who kept the project moving forward, and to the skilled tradespeople who did the work that brought this space to life. We're deeply grateful. Thank you. We're fortunate to be joined today by leaders who have supported this project and the farm along the way. First, I'd like to recognize our town manager, Michael Boynton, who, along with Allison Potter, who's our assistant town administrator, they, along with Nolan Lynch, Nolan, raise your hand, they guided this project from the planning to the completion, and their leadership and dedication made all the difference in bringing this vision to life. Michael will now share a few words.
So I'll tell the story instead. So I don't know if I apologize if I've told this before, but in the early days of the farm, John was out in the back one day, and Glenn's next to a wagon that's all tipped over. Have I heard the story? If I told this one? No. So John came up and said, "Glenn, I need some help up in the farmhouse. We got some stuff that I need you to do." And Glenn looked right at John and said, "Well, Dennis isn't going to like that." And he said, "Well, sorry, I don't really worry about what Dennis wants. I need your help." So they came up here, and so they did about an hour's worth of work. And so Glenn started out the door. He said, "No, we need to go over to the stand, and we need to put up the sale signs for the next event." And Dennis looked at him and said, Glenn looked at him and said, "Dennis isn't going to like that." And he said, "Again, I'm not overly concerned." And so they spent another 40 minutes or so, and Glenn then started making his way back down. He said, "Listen, if you give it a few minutes, I'll help you turn the wagon over. Why don't you just help me now? We're going to move some stuff here in the parking area." And he said, "Dennis isn't going to like that." So John finally looked at him and said, "Why are you so worried about what Dennis likes?" And he says, "He's under the wagon." Well, I'll be here all week. Try the veal. Don't forget to tip your service. This is it's not for stand-up, I will assure you. Thank you, everyone, for being here this morning. And thank you to the Farm Board for the work that you do. So you've spent a lot of time thanking everybody else. And clearly there's been an awful lot of work that's gone into this. You mentioned Nolan, Pete Pelletier, our DPW directors here, John Hackley, our building commissioner, This has been a true team effort. Sandy has been promoting this every step of the way, and we've had a number of people that have been involved to make this a reality. Not just the pavilion, but the all of the improvements at the farm. I look over at Jeff and I look at Senator Spilka's staff, and those earmarks early on were essential to help bring us back from the dark days of when we were concerned about what was going to happen here to where we are today and to the flourishing aspect of what's here. So thank you very much. But again, back to the farm board, it doesn't happen without you. It really doesn't. Yes, Glenn calls me on a daily basis and tells me what the farm needs, which, again, he's an advocate. That's what we do. That's his role, and we make that happen. The select board supports and approves each one of these projects. So it doesn't happen, again, without the select board's support of the community farm. It is a true team effort, and while we, the so-called paid staff, are happy to help out, it's even more enjoyable to be able to help out when you see the volunteers that are working so hard, so often behind the scenes to make this a really good function. So with that, the town of Medway is ecstatic because this is just enhancing the value of a beautiful piece of town property. It's enhancing the history and keeping the history of Medway alive. We hope to do a little bit more of that over the next year with potential purchases of open space and preserving more land. And again, Medway had essentially two main uses in its history. One was the mills. Right, you utilized the water power along the river and the brooks, and we had mills. The other part, which was probably the larger part, was farming. And as someone who, I apologize for saying this repeatedly, but as someone who grew up in the neighborhood and whose grandfather was part of a farm in Franklin, this is awesome to see it continue and stay alive. So with that, I want to say thank you very much. We're really appreciative of all the work that you do, and we're happy to help out. And I won't mention the golf cart.
Ouch, Michael. For those of you that don't know the golf cart story, it is a pile of ash in the back. Went up in flames the other day. So yeah, and it was quite a pile of flames. So thank you for not mentioning it, Michael. But next, I'd like to welcome our state representative, Jeff Roy. Representative Roy, go please. Representative Roy has been a strong voice for this community and a supporter of initiatives that strengthen local farms, food security, and education. Please join me in welcoming Representative Roy. Thank you. I'm giving a hug from you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I'll sit right over here.
You want me to yell?
No, oh, sorry.
Well, Carol, thank you so much, and thank you to the Medway officials, and thank you to all who have been a great part of this farm for continuing to make this place grow and thrive. I know I love my food. I should eat better food. Is this? It is on. Okay. It's so good that you can hear it in that center, but you can't hear the sound out here. But it's great that you are going to take an opportunity to continue your work to educate kids on the importance of food and the importance of what it does for education, what it does for their physical health, what it does for their mental health. And I can't think of a better use of resources at the state and local level, and I'm so glad that Mott came through with the grant. I will tell you, those earmarks are not going to stop. We had one in the FY26 budget, and I know that my dear friend Governor Healy has said they put them on hold till October. Well, October's just a few days away, and I actually had a meeting with the governor's cabinet secretary who handles administration and finance, and I said, I said, this is a priority of your legislative delegation. Both the House and the Senate have put this in for a reason. This was signed into law back on July 4th of 2025. And it is so important to the community. if you don't believe it, come out and visit and see what they have done with that earmark. So it is our priority, and I did say there's another program that they're looking for, and I will not support their program if they don't support this program. It's as simple as that, because I am so thrilled with what you do with this farm and what it has done for the community, and I want so many people to see it and see it continue. I do have a citation here from the House of Representatives, but I want to call my friend Susan Nickel, who's from State Senate President Karen Spilka's office. She has a citation as well, and we both work so hard to support this group and this organization. And Susan, let me turn it to you.
I don't have a speech, except it's just wonderful to see in the 7 years that I've worked with Senate President Spilka and really focused on the district that she represents, all the incredible changes that have come to this farm, and just to see it as a community gathering place. So I'm so glad to be here with my colleague, Momina Hadri, to be part of this ribbon cutting ceremony. Back to you. You want to read yours first?
Okay, well, so I have a citation here from the House of Representatives that I'll read. And Carol, why don't you come up and gather it? Be it hereby known to all that the Massachusetts House of Representatives offers its sincerest congratulations to Medway Community Farm in recognition of the grand opening and ribbon cutting of your new education and event venue. The entire membership extends its very best wishes and expresses the hope for future good fortune and continued success in all endeavors given this 17th day of September 2025 at the State House, Boston, Massachusetts, signed by Ronald Mariano, the Speaker of the House, and myself, whose great honor it is to represent this community and this farm. So congratulations.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor for the farm.
All right, you get another one now.
Ours is blue. But it's a lot the same. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts State Senate official citation. Be it known that the Massachusetts Senate hereby extends its congratulations to Medway Community Farm in recognition of the joyous occasion of your ribbon cutting for the education and event venue and its values and service to the community. And be it further known that the Massachusetts Senate extends its best wishes for continued success. I'm not like Representative Roy. I don't read the whole thing, but I will tell you that it is signed by... you know, the blah, blah stuff. It is signed by your Senator, Karen Spilka, and by the President of the Senate, who's also Karen Spilka. Congratulations, Carol.
Much. We'll take a picture with you and me.
Oh, okay.
Are we done? Yes.
Thank you, Susan, and please thank Senator Spilka as well. We have a few more people that I'd like to have come up to the podium to speak, and first would be Glenn Trindade. Glenn he's on our board, but he's also on the select board for the town, and Glenn was very instrumental in on the team that really got this farm purchased, and I'm sure he'd like to talk for a few words about this farm and a little bit of the history and how we got here.
Thank you. You know, to see this place and to go back in time and to think and to look at what it was when we first purchased it, coming up on, I think, 18 years ago is when we first purchased the farm. It didn't look anything remotely close to what it is today. And then if I look at when I first got on the board just 5 years ago, and I look at the difference now with all of the work that's been put in 6 years. Yeah, actually, is it 7? Wow, yeah. Boy, time flies when you're having fun. Yeah. Well, all the credit goes to the board. You know, I will take credit for this. I will take credit for being a great recruiter, because I was able to convince, and this goes to show you what kind of a salesman I am. I convinced Carol Collard to come back on the board. And then I convinced Tina and Carol and John and Debbie and the rest of the board, Marty and all the other members that are the board, Karen, new member that just joined, because they're the ones that make it work. And Jeff, from the very beginning, we reached out to you, man, when we needed help, and you came through with that grant. That was huge, huge to this farm. And then I see Ellen Rosenfeld from Commonwealth Cannabis. Again, you came in and you helped us out at one of the lowest periods when we were broke, right? And you came through with funding that helped keep this place afloat. And now, over the years, with all of the work that our board has put in, Carol, she thanks people for doing the research on the grants, but she's the one that writes the grants. And those, again, have been huge in helping this farm not only to keep afloat, but to begin to flourish. All right, and so you see all of this work, and now you look at the events like Farm Fest, like Juneteenth, and now in a couple of weeks, Porch Fest that are going to be held here. This is an asset to the farm, but the farm as a whole is a huge asset to the town. When I watched all of those parents come through with all their little kids this past Saturday at Farm Fest, and they came up here for the Touch-A-Truck event, and I'm watching our police and our fire and our DPW interact with them, and I'm watching all these little kids coming up to the vehicles. Again, we have built an awesome community here. All right, it's not that Medway wasn't great 20, 30 years ago, but if you look at where we've come, all right, and how far, like Dennis, when you and I first got on the board, right, this place was so bleak, we were broke, town hall was a mess, all the other kind of stuff, and look where we are. All right, so this just goes to show you that when you have people that really care, this is what you can get accomplished. So with that, I'll stop moving my arms and that kind of stuff, and I'll turn it back over to Carol.
Thank you, Glenn. And thank you for recognizing so many of the people who have gotten the farm to this point, because we really would not be at this point without that. I want to bring John Foresto forward. He's going to speak next. He's also on our board. Do I see John? Oh, there you are, right in front of me. John actually oversaw this project from the very beginning and is continuing to oversee it to the final details. He's been very detail-oriented, really exploring every single option, what we could do for the kids and for the community and for holding events and making sure that this is what we want to our best foot forward for the farm. So, John, if you could come up and speak for a few words.
Thank you. Won't be as long as Glenn. It makes us a little bit quicker. But just if we could do one thing at the beginning here, though. One person we forgot to stand up and applaud and appreciate the work that she's done is Carol. So I'd like really to have a hand for Carol. She's done a great job. You had to be here 4 or 5 months ago when the farm manager left. We were all sitting in the room there saying, what the hell are we going to do? I've never run a farm. None of us have ever run a farm. I don't even know how to start the tractor. The last 3 or 4 months have been really hectic around here, as you see all the growth in here. But a lot of this goes back, and I'll go back to where Glenn was. This goes back to the town making a commitment to CPA funding. We were one of the first towns in the state 20 plus years ago to make that commitment, and it's paid off in dividends for us. Not only the farm, we have Show Park, we have Thayer Homestead. We've been able to rebuild all the playgrounds at the parks and the existing parks. And then we were able to put some money at the end of the road into the farm. So the CPA people and some of the people who are on the board are here. We owe them a great deal of thanks. And to Mark Sorrell, who actually led the fight 20 plus years ago to actually get the town to actually go ahead and start contributing 3%. When we used to get a lot more money from the state then, because there was only 3 or 4 towns that did it at the beginning. But it's still a great thing to have that, and it's really you can see how that money gets poured back into the town and the type of projects that you normally would not fund with public money. So, and that plus the fact, Glenn also recruited me for the select board. So he has a long history of picking the wrong people. And it's a long story, and I was actually working as a consultant for IBM. I was at Indiana University at an MBA class talking about technology trends. And Glenn calls me, and I have to go in the back room. My phone goes off, and he goes, "Can you do this? We've been trying to find somebody to fill this seat." And then I wanted to get back to the class. I said, "Glenn, okay, see you later." And 15 years later, I was still on the board. So. Yeah, I hired Mike. Dennis and I interviewed Mike for the job here. We only make, it was probably the biggest mistake we ever made. So this endeavor here in making this happen didn't happen with a lot of help from the town, a lot of help from the people in town. Jonathan Ackley, are you here somewhere? He stopped us from going down the wrong road, turned us around and said, you can't really do what you want to do, but you can do something like this. And we actually turned around and went in this direction. So thank you. I think it turned out great. The other things that happen here, we have a great education program. I don't know if people realize how that one of the real reasons that we have this structure here is to support our educational program. And it's a real benefit to the town. How many campers did we have this summer? 121 campers come through here. And they learn a lot about the farm, but they also learn about the benefit of the food in the food issues that are out there. And so we're really happy to have that go on here, and it's really a great benefit. I think you want to talk a little bit about education? Okay, she's going to be up next. Yeah.
I'll introduce myself. I'm not shy. Tina Wright. I'm working on education. I said I would work on education 2 years ago. This time last summer, we did not have an education director. We did not have a pavilion. I was not a happy person because I was not meant to be a teacher. But we were getting the pavilion through a generous grant through the Middlesex Savings Bank. I was able to hire Marley. Would you please stand? Marley is our education director. She started in the middle of February. She is amazing. She's been wonderful. And before that, Lauren Hofer in the back there was the other person who kept education going. So without you two, we wouldn't have a program. So thank you, Lauren. I have to recognize that. I can't tell you, this year, two wonderful things happened. Marley and the pavilion. Last year, we had a tent over here. We had one porta potty and a lot of mud because it rained. This year, we had 100-degree temperatures. We had a pavilion with fans. When it rained, we were inside. It was wonderful. Not only did the kids love it, but the number of parents that commented on how awesome this space looked is really a testament to what we can do in terms of bringing not just the kids, but the parents onto the farm and really help that. You can't see it very well, but back there is about 8 education beds that we do a 4th grade program with in the spring, and then Marley planted for the summer program. You have to see the kids' faces when they are weeding the beds, and I use that term very loosely. And then they harvest even more loosely, and then they take the buckets and they go wash them, and all of that is donated to the food pantries. It is a wonderful way, Jeff, to talk about you teaching kids about farming, about food, and also about giving back. The pavilion has really made us be able to grow our education program, and I can't wait to do more programs with education and also more adult events. So thank you all so much. It's amazing. And every single one of you here has contributed to that. Now I get to do the ribbon. Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
So this is really what we're here for, is for the ribbon cutting. So I'd love to have somebody from O'Brien come to help with the ribbon cutting, the board, anybody that would like to come up, I'd love to have with the ribbon cutting.
We need more money.